Let's go live now to our correspondents on the ground. We've got Mariam Zaidi in Brussels and Richard Bestic in London. So hello to both of you. Mariam, I'm going to go to you first there in Brussels. So it seems really the whole process went pretty smoothly there. Have any of the leaders been commenting on the day's work?
Hi, Erica and Richard. Well, today really is a historic day. As you were saying, the EU leaders have approved the Brexit deal today and in record time, despite, of course, the political point scoring on Saturday that we saw by Spain on Gibraltar. Now, this is a deal that, of course, ends free movement in the UK, but guarantees citizen rights in both the EU and the UK. The transition period, of course, ends on December 2020, and there will be a UK-wide temporary backstop if the trade agreement isn't in place, or the transition could be extended by 6 months to avoid one. Now, Presidents Tusk and Juncker, along with their EU Brexit negotiator, have, of course, given that final press conference of the summit. So it's all really well that ends well in Brussels, where both presidents did touch upon the sadness that they feel that the UK is, of course, leaving the EU, and they said it's not a day for raising champagne glasses. But, of course, the two sides will remain friends till the end of days. And here's a little bit of that press conference.
The European Council invited the Commission, the European Parliament and the Council to take the necessary steps to ensure that the agreement can enter into force on the 30th of March 2019, so as to provide for an orderly withdrawal. The European Council approved the political declaration setting out the framework for the future relationship between the European Union and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The European Council restated the Union's determination to have as close as possible a partnership with the United Kingdom in the future.
This deal is the result of significant, tough, difficult negotiations over a period of time. It is Jean-Claude Juncker's phrases were the best possible deal and the only deal possible. I want to deliver Brexit for the British people. This is a good deal that delivers Brexit for the British people, and I hope every member of Parliament will see that and see the importance of that.
All right, let's go live over to London now, and our correspondent Richard Bestic over there. So, Richard, looks like the ball is really back in the UK's court now. Has there been any reaction in London to today's developments? Surely there have been.
Well, Erica, you'd think that after more than 2 years of tortuous, you heard Theresa May, the UK Prime Minister there, describing them as difficult Brexit negotiations, you'd think the people of Britain would be thrilled that at last some kind of deal is now on the table. You'd think that, but it turns out that Brexit, being the contrary package it is, also has the capacity to underwhelm on a gargantuan scale. For most, the events surrounding the choreographed gathering on the of Europe's 28 leaders in Brussels is being greeted with a dispiriting collective sigh. For some, it's a matter of despair, and others, a cause for angry outburst. The Sunday papers in London are full of plots and intrigue against Theresa May, while the Prime Minister herself has written a personal letter to the British people calling on them to support the withdrawal agreement. Her problem is that in her pursuit of compromise, the Prime Minister has managed to alienate all sides in the debate here, to the extent that you have the right-wingers of the Democratic Unionists in Northern Ireland siding with the Labour opposition in Parliament, a remarkable sight in itself. So you see, even though by a narrow majority the British people voted for Brexit, they're to blame, they do appear to be far from delighted at the fine-tuned drama going on in Brussels, Erica.
All right, let's go back to Brussels. Mariam, what's the next step from the EU's perspective?
Well, Erica, EU leaders have made it crystal clear today, and it really has been that there can be no renegotiation of this Brexit deal. Come what may, this is the deal. That has been repeated leader after leader today. So, if UK parliamentarians don't endorse the deal, at their end, What the EU says that they're doing so in full knowledge that they're either leading the UK into a no-deal Brexit, a second referendum or a general election. And of course the EU Parliament itself also needs to give its final approval either in February or March. And I spoke to a German MEP moments ago who said that the European Parliament will endorse this agreement. But if the UK Parliament doesn't, he thinks they're staring at a hard Brexit. And also, as you were showing a bit earlier there, Theresa May has given her end of summit press conference, which Richard also spoke about. Now, Theresa May was quite buoyant, but the question was raised that if this is indeed the best deal and she's aware that UK MPs don't support her, then she should take the deal to the people and not just send them letters like she did on Saturday. Here's a little bit of what the EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker had to say.
I'm inviting those who have to ratify this deal in the House of Commons to take this in consideration. This is the best deal possible for Britain. This is the best deal possible for Europe. This is the only deal possible.
All right, so let's go back to Richard in London. You hear the EU there. I mean, they're just spelling it out, telling the British MPs that this is the only deal possible. But we know there's plenty of opposition in this to this deal in Parliament. What do you think about this? Is there a potential other deal? And I mean, what's going to happen with Parliament now?
Exactly. It's pretty clear, that message from the EU, isn't it? Some in the UK, however, say it's possibly a credit to May's negotiating skills that she's come up with a deal so exquisitely balanced, Erica, that absolutely everybody hates it. It means, of course, that the parliamentary arithmetic adds up to what is almost certain defeat for May and the EU withdrawal agreement when it faces a testing vote in the British Parliament on December 10th. Where the country goes from there? Well, that's anyone's guess. May won't say whether she'd quit or not, and just about everyone, including her strongest allies around the cabinet table, have said that a no-deal Brexit wouldn't get through Parliament. There's a suggestion she might try pushing the agreement through Parliament a second time in the hope that MPs change their minds. And there are, as Mariam mentioned, there growing calls for a second referendum, a so-called people's vote. In short, should she fail, the only certainty is that the country would be in totally uncharted territory, what you'd call, in just about any circumstances, a political and a constitutional crisis. Erica.
Wow, no doubt about that. All right, our Richard Bestic in London and Mariam Zaidi in Brussels. Thank you both so much.